Traveling to Consciousness, exploring spiritual journeys to find answers in uncertainty.
What is up, conscious monkeys? Welcome back to another episode of Traveling to Consciousness. As always, I'm your host, Clinky Terry. And today we are joined by Konstantinos Synodinos, who is a Greek content creator, if you will, but marketing expert in the field. And I don't know if he's going to be crazy about me calling him an expert because I know he's always learning and trying to become better. But Konstantinos, what I wanted to start this off with was like two quotes I heard by you. And I don't even know if you said one of these or not, or like knew you said this one, but to kind of set the framework. But the one I know for sure is dream like a kid, do like a champion. And then the other one is when you copy, your potential is limited, but when you're unique, your potential is unlimited. So I wanted to at least start it off on that note and welcome you to the podcast.
Thank you, Clayton. Nice to be here. You got your research right. So
okay.
Those two quotes are very, very close to me for different reasons. So the first one is something that, will be probably a book at some point. It's something that I have written parts of it, and it has to do with the fact that, I've been a professional athlete in the past. And along this experience, plus my years in entrepreneurship, I've seen, many similarities. And I have tried to extract, specific traits that elite athletes have and successful entrepreneurs have as well, and combine it with the unlimited belief in the unlimited dreams that kids have, which is something that, many people who want to achieve big things need to have, an unlimited imagination and, a refusal to stick to stereotypes and musts and don'ts and what ifs. So, if in a magic way you combine those two things, great things can happen in life. So I keep it as a motto. And the second part is exactly what I preach all the time, that, nobody can really copy your uniqueness. They can copy everything else from you, your business ideas, your content type, style, your algorithm, your everything that you have created as an entrepreneur can be stolen from you. Your uniqueness and the way that your mind works can never be stolen. And that's why, personal brands are really something that we see that are very popular right now, because they establish a foundation on which you can really accomplish many things in the future, no matter the different struggles and obstacles that you find in your way.
So do you find, because in both of these answers, I'm feeling like there's kind of like this balance of between someone who's like maybe established in an industry or a champion, if you will, versus someone who's new or they're a kid. And so maybe given the nature of this podcast, like, whenever I was starting out creating content, I heard a quote of like, art imitates art. And so my general starting point, right, was to copy other people. It was like, okay, well, this thumbnail is working. Let me just roughly copy it and maybe tweak it a bit. Through your experience with marketing, which I think is over 20 plus years at this point, and for those who don't know, just on TikTok and Instagram combined, Konstantinos is at like 3 million. And I think if you include YouTube, you're probably close to 4 million followers. So where do you kind of find this balance between like you're starting out, maybe imitate someone, but then find your own path along the way? Like, what is the delicate balance there when creating your own personal brand?
Yeah, that's a great question, because, nobody really starts from a blank paper, right? Everybody borrows elements and things from the things that we smell, we hear, we see, we consume. And the same goes with entrepreneurship, right? No business is really something new in this world. 99% of them are something that is the evolution of something different, an upgrade of something that looks like that, or a complete imitation of something else, but it works in a different pace and with different technology. So that's what is happening in the business / entrepreneurial market. But the way that, if you see around all the people that, we remember as big creators, as big personas in the digital universe, they have something unique, right? Even if you see a part of their script without even hearing their voice, or you see the style of their videos, or you see their colors, right? You instantly remember their face, their voice. You understand what it's all about. It's like you can hear their voice in your head even by reading a quote from them, right? So that's what branding does, and that's what repetitively trying to be yourself does to people. They really tattoo. They create a tattoo of yourself and your persona in their minds, and that's something that really brings them closer to you. So yes, we all borrow things. When I entered, for example, TikTok 3 years ago and knew nothing about the platform, I studied the culture. I saw what people were doing. Obviously, most of them, were dancing around or lip syncing or doing foolish stuff that, I was not eager to try. So
wait, so you're saying there's no lip syncing videos of you out there that we can't find?
No, zero, none.
Okay. So that'd be good to see.
Not even dancing. So
okay.
I try to consume, many videos within my industry and try to bring them in my own style and in my own character, because if I tried so much to be something else, it would show, it wouldn't feel natural. So of course, you're going to borrow things. You're going to make your research. You're going to see what's working in the platform, how people consume content, what kind of hooks work great, and then make it their own. Make a twist, add your own flair, make a piece of content even better, right? And that's how, by repeatedly doing that, you find your own style and your own vibe.
It's cool. That's beautiful. And so you kind of mentioned there a little bit, right, is that you've been doing this for 3 years, at least on TikTok. I'm not sure how far back it goes with the other platforms, but what did that journey look like from, let's say, 0 followers to 100 to, now we're at 1 million? Were there, certain milestones or certain things that happened either in your life or mentally or physically or spiritually that played on you in different ways whenever you hit maybe different milestones?
Yeah, so it's a process, like with everything, right? Even in sports, I don't know if you can hear me, by the way, because the image froze.
Yeah,
so,
it's glitching a little here and there for me too.
Yeah, so like every process, it comes with levels, like a video game, right? You are in the first level. You're very clumsy. You're still learning the moves and the keyboard sequences. You're starting, learning how you move, how you act. And the same goes with, the process of content creation, of entrepreneurship, of everything. So even your decision to keep playing the game, right? To go from level 2 or 3, do I really like the game? Do I want to continue playing the next level? So it has to do with a process of finding the way to play the game, but also your decision to understand if that's something that you naturally enjoy doing. The first level for me, starting from 0 followers, it was when I entered YouTube and I started creating videos in Greek, like 7-8 years ago, which was something that I was pretty much forcefully decided to do. I didn't want to get exposed in front of the camera. It was very awkward for me. Back then, content creation was completely different. The culture of the YouTube, the Greek YouTube, was very, very strange and a bit cringy. So I didn't want to enter that environment. But still, I realized that there was some opportunity there to brand myself differently from the other many, many different digital marketing agencies that I was competing against here in Greece. So I was like, okay, most of them are, kiddos trying to play experts. Maybe the best way to differentiate is to put myself out there through videos, showcase my skills, showcase my expertise, and by doing that to attract some clients from my agency. So I did that. It worked pretty well, although I had Mickey Mouse views, but still it was like, very laser targeted, attracting the people, the client personas that I wanted to attract, and it worked great. But then through the process, I realized that I can do different kind of content. TikTok came in. I saw an opportunity. I started to adjust myself and my more sophisticated videos into simpler videos, more easy to consume, simpler for the majority of people, in a different style. And it turned out to be a great decision because I attracted different audience in English, uh, different needs. Because at the beginning I was attracting potentially clients, but then I started attracting, people that were digital enthusiasts, creators, entrepreneurs, people who want to escape 9 to 5 way of living. And by doing that, I evolved my style, my content. I entered Instagram, I entered Pinterest, I entered the YouTube English content. So, one step at a time, I realized there was a bigger opportunity, and I kept playing the game in a higher pace and in the higher consistency as well.
So what does that kind of like look like behind the scenes? Because I feel like, at least my journey, when you get into this, you're bombarded with people like Gary Vee, Alex Hormozy. They're popping out, yourself maybe even. They're pushing out, 3, 4, 5 pieces of content across 10 different platforms a day. And to me, that's just not sustainable. Like I hit my own burnout phase. So like when people are entering into this, how does that progress a little bit more from your perspective, right? Because I'm sure now and maybe I'm wrong, but maybe now you're pushing out more content than you used to.
Actually, I'm not posting more in terms of frequency. I'm just posting on every single platform. And because, I have a much bigger reach, people see me way more than they used to see. So some of them believe that I'm posting more, but I'm not. So since the beginning, at least on short video format, I'm not talking about YouTube, is a completely different story. But on short video, I'm always preaching the one per day post kind of path, framework in a way, for many reasons. First of all, it builds a habit, which for me is absolutely necessary to achieve anything you want, building a new habit, right? And even if you don't feel like you need to show up once per day and do the bare minimum, even the bare minimum, do a video about you sharing 5 tips, or just repurpose a piece of content from a different platform, or just post a carousel, or do something, right? This will also make you better because, the more reps you do in a 3-month period, the better you're going to become. It's inevitable, even for the least talented creators. And also you train the algorithm to expect something from you every single day. The platforms really reward the more consistent creators, and we have seen that across every single platform. I've seen it in myself. I've seen it in people that I coach, and I still see it. It still rewards me. So for example, the last month, I had my best month ever on Instagram by doing the exact same things, by posting once per day. So yeah, you don't have to post 3 or 4 or 5 times per day, at least in specific niches. Okay, if you're a news outlet, a media outlet, yes, you need to post multiple times per day because you need to capture different events and different kind of things that are happening every day. But if you are an educator like me, if you're trying to educate other people in every niche, once per day is more than enough.
Okay. That's really fascinating. And I think what you kind of dropped in there, and what we even kind of started this off with, is that there's a lot of nuance within this marketing space, depending on your niche, depending on the platform, depending on what you're covering here. And you also dropped in there that you work with a bunch of clients. I think I heard on a podcast, you start off with like 6-figure earners. Now you're up to like 8 and 9-figure earners. Maybe that's even more now. Are there like a top 5 things that you see from like the majority of people that, is very how would be a better way to word this? Is there like a top 5 things that you see everyone do within their business that if they just stop doing this one thing or 5 things, they would see exponential growth?
Regarding content, yes, I think it's quite consistent, the mistake that people do. They are trying to serve themselves rather than the audience. So this is probably the biggest mistake that all creators are doing, all the business owners are doing when they're trying to enter any social media. They're like, okay, what do I need to achieve? What kind of clients I want to attract? Okay, let me talk about that. It's not how it works, right? People they need to act more selflessly and to turn the focus lens towards the audience, not themselves, right? So that's how you start becoming more valuable, more impactful. You get more reach, you get more profile visits converted into follows, because people understand that it's all about them. It's all about getting value. Most people in my DMs, they are like, why you're doing that? Why you're sharing so much value every single day, right? You need to make them wonder why you do that, why you're so selfless. And that brings the most benefits back for you. And people cannot really realize it from the get-go. But once they see the results, they understand what I'm talking about. So yeah, try to be more selfless. Try to become the evangelist and the ambassador of your industry, rather than trying to be the seller of your brand every single time.
Oh, that's a powerful one. Is there, and like, I feel like I see this with your content, because you're always putting up like, use this AI thing, or this is like the number one AI thing, for this. And so is that something you've always been doing, or was that like the catalyst that really got your content taking off?
Well, like I say always to people, you need to experiment to understand, what is sticking to the audience, what is sticking to you, what brings the most eyeballs towards your platform, what can really become a money-making machine for you eventually. And in order to understand that, you need to experiment, and especially at the beginning where you don't have that much of a reach. You need to experiment like crazy. I mean, every single day you need to try something else, right? So I did the same. When I entered TikTok, for example, I tried to bring my valuable YouTube videos into TikTok. It didn't work. I tried to share tips like I talked to the university when I'm going for a speech. It didn't work. I tried to do extremely simple content, like I'm talking to a 5-year-old. It worked. But if you told me at the beginning, I would never try it, because I thought it would be foolish for somebody with a 20-year-old experience in marketing to start talking about things that are for a student, right? But then I realized that the benefit that it gives me back from having a bit more wide audience and having a bit broader and more generic content is that it will boost my reach, and it will bring me also the people that I would like me to bring. So potential clients, partners, 8-9-figure businesses, right? So the bigger your reach, the more you attract from the people you want as well. If you go the other way around, so by only focusing on the people that you would like to attract, you will only attract a very, very small percentage of those people.
It's probably one of those things where it depends on your goals, the intention of your business, to determine which avenue you want to go. Exactly. That's pretty cool. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. I mean, I can definitely see that within my own, framework of how certain content you would think is like going to be the best thing ever. It's so much value, and then no one watches it. And then it has you like questioning, am I actually putting out value here? Or is there something wrong with this piece of content? Like, what's going on here? And it can be a little trippy at times, but it seems like it also comes into that thing of just keep reiterating, keep updating, keep trying new things.
Yeah, that's how it's done.
So because again, going back to this maybe AI content, do you feel like, I mean, I don't know how much, this might get a little deep here real quick, but I don't know how much research or thought you've put into maybe like the future landscape of content creation and AI, because it seems like at some point in time, it could just completely take over and we'd be saturated with like fake people, if you will, just all deep fakes. I mean, what is your thoughts on that? Have you put any thought into the future of how social media will evolve after we're like at this almost inception point with AI? Like after that, what happens?
Yeah, I mean it's a high probability. Even I don't know if you've watched the video from Gary Vee the other day. He was talking about virtual influencers that will take over and will charge a lot of money, taking business from other influencers that are doing that and they're putting effort. I don't really buy that, to be honest. So I think it's a hype. So, we might get excited about somebody who's an AI talking to people, a virtual AI influencer, a virtual sexy girl that attracts, hungry guys who want to see fake boobs or whatever. I don't understand. I mean, why they do that, but still, there are a big percentage of people that do that. But I think it's a hype. I mean, if you see 2,000 of them, after a while, I think the human element will be missed. And that's why maybe the value of the human generated content will go high again, right? So I think there will be, a hype at the beginning, but at the end of the day, human wants, enjoy humans. That's how it's
authenticity.
done. Yeah. I think the authenticity will always win, and eventually it will get normalized again. And especially if you have established yourself in this period by using AI not to substitute you, but to help you create more content in more frequency, better quality, right? Better scripts, or to elevate your editing or your quality of your videos. It will definitely find you, the whole situation will find you from a place of strength, right? You will have an advantage over others that haven't done anything. So personally, I never live from fear. I never live from a point that, oh my God, AI is coming to take over and they will replace me. I'm always like, okay, what can I do with this thing to become better, to be ahead from others that are like that, I'm not like that. If it's in my control, I will do the best I can. If it's not, I cannot really cry over that. I mean, it's not in my control, right?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like, again, it's coming back to that balance, right? Of like how much of it is human, how much of it is AI, and then trying to find that balance piece where, using the good of it, but then not letting it completely take over your content or your content strategy too much. Do you feel like, because I also agree with that, like that kind of like that curve. And I feel like I see that with like short form versus long form content as well, where like we're hyper focused on all the short term 3 to 5 seconds. And I feel like just over time, it's going to make some form of parabolic swing back to long form content, whether that's YouTube videos or podcasts. I don't know. But so with all that being said, do you feel like if there's this shift towards AI, do you feel an inclination to use it more as the general direction's going that way and then shifting back more to being more human when it goes back that way? Or is it keeping this balance throughout the entire wave?
For me personally, I don't use AI to generate content. I mean, everything I do is me. My words, my lens, my camera, my microphone. It's me. I never appear as an AI-generated human or whatever. My team uses it a lot, AI. They use a lot to generate content for our clients, to optimize stuff, to write articles. But what I'm always saying to those people, and they have been trained accordingly, is that this is a huge help. It's like a huge push to start rolling. It's not for you to end the whole game with it, right? So you get a push from AI, you start writing a good article, but you need to make your own adjustments and your own tone of voice and to add your own expertise to make it human-like, right? Don't count entirely on AI to do the job for you. It's like a huge push, a huge help, but it's not for you to do it's not to do everything, at least for my own way that I want to create stuff, right? For some people, it's just AI. And for many, it will be because AI is becoming every single day even better. But from my own perspective, and if you want to be considered a professional, somebody who has an expertise, somebody who has an edge, you need to show the edge, right? Otherwise, you're just an AI business. You're just a parrot, right? So, yeah, you need to add your own flair. Yeah, you need to add your own flair, your expertise. Show us what you got. But just use AI to do it more frequently, more consistently. I mean, some students now, I have many people that I coach that are starting creating content. The first step is the toughest one. And especially before AI, it was even tougher because we had no clue how to find ideas, what kind of content to create, how to phrase ourselves, what kind of hooks work better for my needs. Nothing. We had to manually research all that stuff. Now you go to ChatGPT and you say, okay, I'm a new fitness instructor. I want to create content for the niche that it's called pregnant moms. Please generate for me 20 high searchable ideas so I can create 10 TikToks this week. Brrr, take it.
Yeah.
30 seconds later, it's so much easier. So all you got to do is open your camera and start talking, right? So now it's easier. That's why I'm saying that use it as an accelerator, as an enabler. Don't use it as a substitute of who you are and what you do.
No, that's really good advice, because it feels like it touches back into what you were saying earlier about not being afraid of new things, not being afraid of change. And it seems to me that also stunts a lot of people, most people, in their growth process of being afraid to try something new, being afraid to take the next step. And I might see that in comments a lot too, where, and maybe even some of your videos I've seen where you'll post about quote unquote easy money making opportunities, and then the comments are riddled with, oh, this is a scam, don't do this, kind of that fear thing that pushes people away. So maybe that's a good question too, is like, how do you know if there's like a internet money opportunity, and if it's a gimmick, or if it's if it's actually a legitimate opportunity to make some good money?
You mean you talk about me personally, or in general people who watch videos?
Well, I think I guess both, but I think like one of your videos I saw you posted was maybe about answering questions online. Like there's a website where you can go and answer people's questions and you make money from it. And I think that was specifically the one I saw where people were like, oh, I wouldn't do this, da 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 da. So I'm just like, through the filter, right? We have like this, we keep getting a lot of information. Is there a process you do or a process other people could use in order to discern if it's a valid opportunity or not?
As a general rule, if it sounds too easy, it means that it's not, right? There's no such thing as easy money online. People look for that because probably they have been trained by many creators for that logic. But if you pay attention to my content, for example, I'm always saying it's hustle. Maybe the idea is simple, but the people who really make money with it are the people who gonna try more. They're gonna be doing that 6 months later, 1 year later, because you know what most people do? You might showcase to them an idea. They're gonna try for an hour at best, and they're gonna be, this is not working. It's a scam. It's not a scam. Your effort, the amount of effort you put is a scam towards yourself, right? You can never expect to go to the gym for 20 minutes and see results. You need to do it for a while. And for example, the platform that you said about answering questions, there are many of them, like respondent.io, right? I get emails from them every single day. You can answer specific topics in your niche, but you need to have some kind of expertise, right? So the more value you bring in the online marketplace, in any marketplace, the more valuable you become, the more money you're going to get. It's a simple rule as that. So if you go to responded.io and you know nothing about anything, you will not be paid at all. If you know something about education, if you know something about chemistry, if you know something about building phones, if you know something about whatever, you can sell this expertise and answer something that somebody doesn't know, because most people don't know the things you do, and vice versa. So if you exchange this knowledge with the time that somebody's asking from you, you're going to get paid $20, $30, $50, $100. And the more times you do it, the better you become in that. And 6 months later, you are in the 1% of people that tried it for long and they made money with it. It's as simple as that.
It's very simple. And it seems like where this comes full circle, right, is you give this information away for free. So like, if I, let's say, like my marketing experience is very limited, but if I want to learn about it, I come start learning on your platform, and which gives me the knowledge base, not even your platform, but just your TikTok, your YouTube, whatever. That gives me the knowledge base to try it on my own. And then you can show people that you have that expertise in a given sector, a given domain. And is that kind of maybe the paradigm that you run into here? Because I think, something that can be very daunting for people, I mean, myself included, is being in that beginner stage, like a new area. You don't know anything, you don't know anyone, and then trying to make your way into it. Is that, I don't know. I don't really know what the question is, but it just seems like that's kind of the path, is that it's scary to get over that first hurdle. But then once you do it, you need to start learning, testing, and then you can start making some sort of money for it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly as you describe it. It's like giving you a map. I can give you a map which is super detailed, but I cannot get you there myself, right? From the hand. You need to walk the distance. It might be scary, but having a scary 9-to-5 job that you are not enjoying and you're sad 99% of the days is even scarier for me, right? That was actually my motivation to become an entrepreneur. I hated the stereotype of a 9-to-5 job that was very good for the average person, but still was not for me. I was not happy. I hated the fact that I was looking forward to the weekend. That was something that was not fulfilling for me. I was looking forward for my vacay days. Now I don't even care if it's Friday or if it's a Monday. I don't care. It's the same for me. So that was the greatest motivation for me. Yes, it was scary to leave my job when I was 32 with a very good salary and start over from zero. And to be honest, I didn't have any digital marketing skills back then. I was a good marketeer in the traditional kind of way that marketing worked, but digitally wise, I had zero skills. I was just good with computers. And I was genuinely excited about learning things to do with a computer. So the only thing that people need is the appetite to try, to give it some time. And if they do that, I'm pretty sure they're going to see results. I mean, I know many people from the millions that follow me that followed my advice consistently. And they're like, dude, thank you for what you did. Thank you for giving me the push. Now I just made my first money online, or I used affiliate marketing tactics that you told me, and I did this, or I started an agency, or I started my first AI company because of you. So those things work. You just need to give them time, right? And in some cases, they don't work in every country. So in every country, there are different specifications, different limitations. PayPal, for example, is banned in many countries, or other platforms are not available in other countries. So there's always a geo factor that plays a role.
That's awesome. I mean, first of all, congrats. I'm sure that feels very empowering to make like that kind of impact on, someone else's life, to be like, be at that place of being the mentor.
It's probably the biggest motivation after a while, because, at the beginning is other reasons why you're doing things, money, vanity, maybe. You just get hyped by the numbers. Like, wow, 100K, 200K, 300. Yeah. After a while, numbers don't really excite you that much. So I might see a video. Last week, I had the video on Instagram. It has like 13 million views. I was like, wow, good numbers. I've done it before. So the hype that I get from the numbers is not the same anymore. But I get much more hyped when I see great content like that, a DM that says, dude, I did this and I changed my life. I'm really excited. I've turned around my life because of you, because of a live that, an Instagram live that you said this statement, and it's stick in my mind. It changed the way I think about money, the way that I think about my content. That's the greatest motivation. I get goosebumps about thinking about that right now. So that's for me the motivation that I get right now to keep going and keep creating content and, keep launching new stuff and going in podcasts. That's my motivation right now. In 6 years might be something different. But for now, this is the thing that really takes me out of bed every morning.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's amazing. Because I know kind of what was at the beginning there is like so many people, you almost can't think to that that part of like making an impact or wanting to change the world before taking care of your own house. And I know I was very much in this place of like, you know, you have to have money, you have to feel safe, you have to have even maybe a literal house. You know, you need almost these like basic base level floor necessities of life, which then open up that ability to expand into maybe a bigger field. You know, I know that was my story, was like, I had the perfect life. Told you before this, I was in San Diego and life was literally perfect. Like stable job, everything was great, beach, you know, partying, women. But you hit a certain point where it's like, okay, this isn't either giving you that same high, or it's just like, it's not, there's something missing here. Like there's a piece of the puzzle that is bigger. And that was really, at least in my story, where it started to be like, okay, like what is that bigger thing that I can contribute to? And it seems like that. I mean, it's scary. It's certainly scary, but the fulfillment that you find along the way is so much more impactful.
Yeah. And like, you know, my first therapist told me, and mentor, she told me actually that, you know, you need to take care of yourself first before you take care of anybody else. Right. And I used to be a person that, you know, has this kind of, savior kind of mindset that, you know, I want to save others. I want to do things. They're like, you need to take first of yourself. It's not selfish. It's not narcissistic. If you're not strong enough and if you have not fulfilled your own needs and, you know, your own soul, you cannot help anyone. You're not good for anyone, right? Not for your partner, not for your friends, not for your family, not for your followers. So that's how, exactly like you described, is, you know, how motivation changes from level to level. Maybe it's not for everybody. I mean, some people might say, fuck off, you know, it's just about the money. Who are you trying to fool? Maybe for some people, you know, the money number in the bank is much more fulfilling. I love money as well, don't get me wrong, right? But it's not as fulfilling as this feeling is for me, at least at this moment.
I lost you for a second there. I missed the impactful point that you made, but yeah. No, it's definitely important, but I think people get trapped in the importance of it and think it becomes like almost their God, if you will, where they're like, okay, this is the only number that matters, this is the only thing that's important in life, and then miss out on everything else in life. And maybe this is even a good part to kind of like pivot into it, because I know when we were in the green room talking about how spirituality plays a big role in your life, because in all these other podcasts I've heard, I don't know what it is, but there was like something within your voice or in the words that you were using that I was like, there's something here. There's something going on with Konstantinos that he's got like a spiritual side to him. And so, you know, what's been going on?
Yeah. So this part, you know, with the words you choose and everything, is not so spiritual, to be honest. This is not the part of spirituality that, you know, has really helped me also in the way that I feel, the way that I act. So this part is mostly, you know, regarding energy and, you know, how I feel about people and how I feel about myself. The part that you mentioned is mostly about realizing how brain works in general. So, you know, I did a seminar 10 years ago, 12 years ago. It was an NLP seminar, right? For the people who don't know, is called neuro-logistic reprogramming, something like that. So it teaches you how the things that we say trigger our thoughts, and our thoughts trigger our actions. So we live a life based on what we say, what we believe, what we activate in our brain, and people don't realize that. So if I keep telling to myself that, you know, I can't do that, or I must go to work, or I must create videos, if I use the wrong words, those things are roadblocks that I put in front of me without understanding, right? Because your mind is actively listening to what you say, and it's actually delivering the things that you say to it. And I will tell you a very simple example, right? So recently I bought some blackouts in my room, right? So I don't really, I used to, after 7 a.m., normally I had some, you know, natural sunlight coming into my room. So even if I didn't see the clock, I realized what time it was. With the blackouts, I have no idea if it's 5 p.m. in the afternoon or 12 a.m. in the evening. So the other day I woke up, I went to go to the bathroom, and I felt really tired. So I saw the blackouts, and I was like, oh my God, it's the middle of the night. I feel tired. When I came back from the bath, when I went to the bathroom, I saw the sunlight. And when I came back and saw my mobile, it was like 9 a.m. So instantly, I realized that I had a full 8 hours sleep last night. So instantly, I stopped feeling like I was tired. But the first information that I activated to my brain was that it's the middle of the night. I woke up in the middle of the night. Obviously, I haven't slept enough. So I must feel tired. And I felt tired. So the whole difference that I described was within 1 minute, right? And it's all about the direction and the trigger that I gave to my mind. 2 different triggers, 2 different states of feeling, how my mood changed entirely. So that's why, it's for me, it's really, really important to understand for anyone who wants to achieve anything or just to be happy, to train their brain and, avoid saying the wrong things to themselves.
Yeah, I'm losing you again. Let me see if I can change my Wi-Fi. Maybe it's me. Let me see if this is going to kick me out or not.
Yes, sir.
All right, a little bit of technical difficulties, guys. But yeah, you were saying you had the blackouts. I was hearing that you had the blackout shades. Your mind thought that it was middle of the night, that you're still tired, and yet you had a full night of sleep. Yeah.
Yeah, you want me to repeat that story?
That was I mean, I'm sure the audience is going to hear it. Sure. We'll cut it out and see if we can mash it up a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm saying that, NLP is everywhere in our lives. So the things that we say to our brains or we activate without understanding play a huge role in how we feel and how we act and what kind of results we bring in our lives. Because even a simple example like the one that I gave you before. So waking up in the middle of the night, I had some blackouts in my room. I didn't realize what time it was. And I had to go to the bathroom. So I get up, I see dark everywhere. Instantly, my brain thinks that, it's dark. It's still in the night. So I feel tired. I go to the bathroom. I see the sunlight. I'm like, what the fuck? I go back to my room. I see my alarm, my time on the screen is like 9 a.m. So I realized that I had a full 8 hours sleep. And instantly, I feel less tired. I feel relaxed. I feel that, I'm fine and I'm good to go for a full day. So the only thing that changed was the information that you had a good sleep. You're not tired, right? So your body and your brain didn't have any change. The only thing that you changed was the direction and the message that you gave to your brain. If you keep saying to yourself, I cannot do it, it's too difficult, what Konstantinos is showing every day cannot be done, it's for somebody else. Yeah, it cannot be done. You're right. But if you say to yourself that, why not? I mean, everything that I touch around me, right? Everything that I see has been created by people that were not smarter than me. So why not me? If you don't have this mindset and if you don't believe it, you will never do it. So this is not spiritual. It's how your brain works. It's the manual of your brain. So if you don't read the manual, you will never fully activate your brain, and you're gonna see the outcomes in your life.
And what changes did you kind of see from that, right? Like I guess we're aware what changes we saw, but what was it like before? What were kind of like those patterns you had? And then how did changing those, impact your life?
It's a process, right? It's like reprogramming your mind. That's why NLP is called reprogramming your mind. You need to enter a new program again, avoiding to say words that they don't serve you or they limit you. You need to understand your limiting beliefs as a person and start reprogramming your mind by changing the way that you act, you feel, you react, right? But in many cases, going to therapy, having a person that can really help you change behavioral patterns can really elevate your life in many ways.
That's so cool. Yeah, that's so powerful. I mean, I know even just little things, right? I think like the most common thing I hear people say, and I guess maybe this is a trigger warning for people, so I'll put it out there. But the most common thing that I hear people say is like, "Oh, I'll just go kill myself." And it's said like as a joke and like, they're messing around, but once you dive into kind of like the science that you're discussing here, it's not really something that seems to take lightly or to really want to even put that out there that like, oh, like that's where you're at. Let's not dive down
It's
that
really
rabbit hole.
serious. It's clearly serious. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a big thing that I've been trying to catch people with of like, let's not, like, let's try to change that a little bit. Like there's definitely a better joke here that we could use.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, if you observe people around you, people that are consistently positive with a big smile, or that they're always encouraging other people, or they're the big believers, and they might sound as fools in some cases. In a magic way, after some years, they always end up in a good place. So you need to find a good paradigm in those cases. You need to find those. I know it's not. You cannot fake positiveness, right? You cannot fake being courageous and not be, or brave. But as you said, it's one step at a time. It's one decision per day. It's one fuck it, I'll do it per day that you say. And it changes, the momentum of your life and things that are happening. It's one thing that doesn't serve you and you cut it out every single day. Saying no to something you were saying yes before. And it adds up. So, and for people that haven't read Atomic Habits, I strongly recommend it. Right? It's a Bible of how to adapt positive habits and changing your lifestyle that really serves you in the long run and generates a great momentum for you with really tiny steps that you cannot really watch if you just see, what you do every day.
Yeah, there's a mentor of mine, a great book, phenomenal book. There was a mentor of mine who told me that a smile is a beautiful weapon. And to me, that really resonated as like, oh yeah, it's a good point. And then you start diving into all the science behind it. And they talk about how when you smile, other people just naturally have to smile at you. And I'm sitting there like, it's so simple, but like nobody, we're just not taught about it or whatnot.
Yeah, imagine how one extra smile per day can change your life. Just one, right? One smile in a potential love partner. One smile in a meeting that you were and you were a bit moody and it didn't turn out the way you wanted. But by smiling and having a positive attitude, it ends up being great. It can change your business life. So imagine adding those up every day, right? Or putting a smile for a person who didn't feel well and you change their mood. And this pivotal day can be pivotal for their life. It can be very powerful, right? So yeah, the small things every single day are enormous. We just don't realize it because we don't give much significance to them.
For sure. And the visual I'm kind of getting here, and I feel like this probably comes from like Atomic Habits, is just like when you're kind of in that beginner stage, right? And you do these one little extra things. What if it's just one more smile, one more piece of content? You don't see like that, a big shift. But then once you get to a point, you're doing it for 20 plus years, let's say, the one little thing can have a tremendous impact. And so is that something that you've seen hold true in your business?
Yeah, I've seen it in my life in general. And that's why I've always been, since my sports days, I've always been the extra rep kind of person. Like, and I've said that I think I had a video the other day. So 3 weeks ago, 1 month ago, I don't remember, I had a walk. I was feeling very moody, didn't feel like going out of the house, but I was like, okay, let's try to do at least 1 kilometer around the house, right? Just take your headphones, go around, listen to a video, and like Atomic Habit says, no 0 days. Even the days that you don't feel like doing anything, just do the bare minimum. Go for 5 minutes of walk or do 5 push-ups or whatever. And I was like, okay, let's try to do that. I put my sneakers on, I go out of the house, I start listening to a podcast. 2 hours later, I hit 15 kilometers, right? Because I
Wow.
did my first mile, and then I was like, okay, I feel a bit better now. Maybe I can do 3 miles, right? And 3 miles come to my watch, and I'm like, I don't feel tired. I don't want to go home. Let's do it 6. So I ended up doing 2 hours of a walk, right? By just deciding to do no 0 days, by just deciding to do the bare minimum. So that's how appetite becomes bigger, by just doing small things when you don't feel like doing them. And that's why I'm saying to people, show up no matter what. Do the bare minimum, and it will be tremendously bigger for you. The outcome you're going to get, it's going to be very, very different from what every single person in your life sees.
That's amazing, because I know you. It's kind of funny too, because I remember I was jogging yesterday, and I was listening to a podcast that you were doing with somebody else, and you had that exact same story, and you finished it up with talking about like an excuse machine or something like that, like how there's
Yeah.
a voice in your head that'll create these excuses. Well, it's funny because I was in the jog, and I have these like little games of like, okay, I'll take like a small break when I get to that point, or I'll get to this point, right? And then try to keep fighting that voice, because right when you said that, I could then almost instantaneously discern like, oh, this is the excuse machine coming in, and I'd be like, okay, no, fuck, like now I have to go to the next one.
Yeah, it's
That's
that machine, exactly. It's like that. It's sometimes I like visualizing things because it helped my brain make it clear what I need to do and who I need to fight, right? So by visualizing in my head that there is a excuses generating machine that is about to start creating something that is not good for me, and I need to be faster than that and be stronger than that, it makes it easier for me to act upon it, rather than just trying to create a reason to get off the couch, or try not to be lazy or whatever. So yeah, the brain is very intelligent and can be very dumb at the same time. So by creating those simple, visually, those graphic kind of ways to beat it every day, it serves you very, very, very well.
Well, it's interesting too, because when you were talking about that, and I was in the moment, literally in the moment, it seems like the voices are different. Like there's a slight difference in the voices of, oh no, you've been doing good, you're all right, versus the voice that's like, nah, we can do one more. Like there's like a different feeling between those two voices, and that, I don't know, I have some weird takes, but that felt weird to me.
Yeah, it's absolutely, and it's always a battle. It's always a battle. Sometimes, most of the days, the excuses machine is stronger. Most of the days, for everybody and for everything we do, gym wise, business wise. But that's where the people who make it differentiate versus the other people who cannot make it. It's what also molds and shapes your character. The more you beat this excuses generation machine, the stronger you become, the stronger mindset you build. It's a daily routine that you need to beat.
Yeah, it's like, who was it? There was like a spiritual mentor I had, and he was saying, what was he saying? Oh, I was asking, because let's just take a step back, right? All this stuff we're talking about every day, you got to exercise, you got to post, you got to do research, right? You got to read Atomic Habits. There's all these different things. And I remember asking him about, like, there's all this like stuff I have to do throughout the day. Like, how am I going to ever find time to meditate? And his thing was essentially like, every day is a 14-hour meditation. It's like just doing your best every second, enjoying every moment is the meditation. And I was like, whoa, it was like this big perspective shift of how, the spirituality community, if you will, the meditation community, it's like, you can just sit there and just think about your thoughts, but see if you can enjoy the process of the things you're doing as you're doing them. Cause that's really where it seems like people get powerful.
Yeah, actually, you need to find some kind of pleasure in the things you do. You cannot only do things you hate. It's not possible. It's not sustainable, right? And you need to have a strong why towards, chasing something, because not every process is pleasant. I've been through processes that, they were not pleasant, but the why was very pleasant when I was thinking about it, or very strong. So that
Mm.
fueled my need to go there. And by training myself to do the process, I started loving it. I started enjoying it. I started missing it when I was not doing it. So at least that's how my brain works. I don't know if it's for everybody the same, but I believe that, we are creatures of habit. That's true. It's very powerful, the habits in people. The behavioral patterns is very strong, and sometimes they're unbreakable. Uh, and that's why it's very, very important to start building them in the right way, because they're going to be serving you forever. So yes, you need to go against your will. You need to go against your laziness, sometimes more than others. But that's what differentiates people. Otherwise, everybody would be at the same level, same money, same success, same everything, right?
Yeah. No, I'm all on board on that why. And I don't see the paper hung up here anywhere. I know it's in my bedroom, but it's just like, keep asking yourself, like, why am I doing what I'm doing? And I think that is a very powerful way to dampen maybe that excuse machine that's like, well, maybe not today. It's like, well, why are you going to do it? It's like, oh, it's going to contribute to that bigger goal. And so, this is probably a very powerful point, which is, how, I guess, what is your why, and how did you find your why?
Yeah. So I remember there was a seminar when I was in Procter and Gamble. I used to work there for 5 years, and it was those monthly, yearly meetups that we do in corporates, in big corporates, that are super boring for me. But I still went because I had to. Right? I find it very theatrical and very nonsense oriented. Everybody looks excited, tries to be excited, although they are not. Everybody is trying to act like they have ownership of the company. They couldn't care less, right? And so everybody's acting, but still there are some things that you keep, great lessons that you take, some great people that you meet. And one of those seminars was find your purpose. And they were like, okay, if we have a book, right? Anyway, if we have a book and there's a blank cover, that doesn't say anything, and you would like to put a title for your life, what would be that for you? I couldn't think of anything, to be honest. I couldn't think of anything that could be fulfilling or something that would be exciting for me. I had no answer. So that was my first ring, the bell that rang and was like, what? Why I don't have that? Should I have that? Is something important? And yes, it's important because, our lives, okay, they're great because, we love the unexpected. We love, the fact that sometimes life is bringing things we didn't expect. But we have many ways to control the path of our lives and the route of our lives and the outcome of our lives. And for that part, we need to be, intentional. You need to have some kind of path, direction that you're willing to follow. Yes, and I've said that in many podcasts before, that you might believe that you want to go there, but through this process and journey, you realize that you want to go further or you want to go differently. But unless you embark towards this direction, you will never know. So at the beginning, you need to have some kind of purpose, some kind of direction, which might be, I want freedom in my life. I want to be a free person that explores my full potential and see what my full potential can do to other lives, positive wise, right? That's pretty much my own purpose. My purpose right now is like, I want to discover the full potential of my brain, soul, happiness, positiveness, impactfulness, and see what this momentum can bring to the world, to people, to stray animals, whatever. So that's my purpose. I haven't shaped it specifically. I don't want to shape it because that's how my brain works. For somebody else, could be to have a family, could be to live in an island and fish salmons every day. I don't know. But you need to define it somehow. Because if you define it, things that you do make much more sense to you. And when they do, the little steps that you take are easier to take.
So this might be even a deeper question. So how do you know at this point in your life that you're on the path to your fullest potential?
Because I just look back, and whenever I look back, I see differences. I see upgrades. I see a wiser way of thinking. I see more people getting impacted by what I say. I see my own people saying that to me, that, you know what, you have upgraded the way you talk, the way you speak to people, the way that you make me feel is different. So by just getting this kind of feedback from yourself, from the way you feel, from the impact of your job, from the impact that you have in your own close group, that's how you realize that, you're on the right path or not.
Interesting. Yeah, it's like taking that input from other people. But I guess it might have to be the right people, right? Because if you're getting it from just strangers on the internet, it might be tainted.
Yeah, that's a huge part of making it, or having the right environment around you that can really help you do everything you want to do, because it's not a given, and for probably the majority of people, it's not the right one, the right environment, right? I've been in the wrong environment as well, in toxic environments, environments that were really disabling me, were acting like not an anchor, but as a heavy lift that was dragging me down, instead of being, an engine of growth, an engine of, pushing me towards the things that I wanted. So this can be a wrong relationship. This can be a wrong mindset, people around you, friends, family. And most people have that in their daily lives. And it's important to recognize it, first of all. And either you stop being, discouraged or influenced by it, or you just cut it out completely. There's no other way. It doesn't serve you in any way.
Yeah, it seems like the most important aspect there, right, is the step one, the recognition of it. So like in your life, how have you been able to determine when you're or recognize when you're in a situation or around certain people that are pulling you down versus not contributing, adding value, or increasing your life? Like maybe there's a checklist, maybe there's like certain flags. So how do you recognize that?
It's all about the gut feeling, to be honest. And the more you train your gut feeling and the more belief you build towards your gut feeling, because I got to be honest, when I was 25 or 30, I'm 43 by the way, right now.
Looking great.
I was not the most confident person in the world. And that really has a toll on how much you believe in your gut feeling and you trust your gut feeling. Because sometimes you believe more other people, or you believe the facts in your life more than your gut feeling. Now I believe more my gut feeling, even more than the facts. Right? So somebody might be a person who I don't really have a reason not to trust them or not believe them. But there's something in my gut that says, nope. Right? I will trust my gut feeling over the facts, over the things that I see. And people say that, your gut is your second brain. And actually there has been scientifically proven that the energy that this receives is proven. It's something that, you need to count on. You need to listen to that. Why am I feeling like I'm feeling, right? Ask questions to yourself. How does this make me feel? Why I feel like that? Is it me? Is it the environment? Is that something that people did? Is the body language? Is the the facial expressions of the person? What is it that I don't really feel myself enjoying in here? So yeah, the only thing that for me plays a vital role, and I always listen, is my gut feeling right now, and I trust it very, very deeply.
Yeah, it's powerful. It's very powerful. And it seems like, that act of actually trusting it, right? Especially if you're surrounded by people who are going to give you the opposite information or disagree with your own gut feeling. That can cause a lot of internal conflict as well.
And the first role of the gut feeling was the fight or flight kind of decision for people. So that was the first reason why we had gut feeling. So should I sit here and wait, or should I start running because there's an animal behind me trying to eat me, right? So that's gut feeling. And in today's world where we don't have the beasts chasing us, but we have different beasts that we need to fight, this gut feeling is doing the exact same thing. It tells you where you're safe and where you're not. So you need to listen.
Yeah, like user 13567 in the comment section talking crap. Yeah. Threatening my ego. Cool, man. I mean, it feels like a good spot to kind of like wrap this up. I feel like this has been a very enlightened conversation. Maybe one last question I'm just thinking of, like, what would you, given all this stuff, all this knowledge, 43 now, what would you tell yourself maybe at the age of 20 or 25 now that you know that you would give yourself? Like, say you have 30 minutes to talk to your younger self, what would be something you'd tell them?
It would probably be to believe more in myself. Might sound like a cliche, but I believe that apart from a very few fools or very few ignorants that are really believing in themselves over the facts, most people do not believe enough in themselves. And that has to do with the environment, the culture, the stereotypes, the way we live our lives, the limiting factors that are being injected by our parents when we're kids, the school system. Everything is created to shape us in a way that we're not believing enough that we should. Because, the power that we have, the things we can do are way more than the things we cannot do for everybody. So I think that if I had this strong belief early in my life, I might have done even more in my life than I have done today, or even earlier. But I'm still grateful about the timings of things that happen in my life. I really understand that everything is a process, and you need to fall down to get up, or to have some failure, or to go through depression to see the better version of yourself. And people need to embrace failures and embrace sadness and embrace depression in a more healthy way than they do. They believe that it's the enemy, but it's not. It's probably the best environment to go to the next level. There are very, very few people that go to the next level without being sad, or without failing, or without a heartbreak, or without a loss of a loved person, or being broke. There are very, very few people that go to the next level without having experienced those situations. So if you're in such an experience, embrace it, because it's probably the greatest fuel you will ever have.
That's beautiful. Now, do you think you would have listened to yourself at 25?
Maybe not. Maybe I would say, what the fuck is this guy saying? To be honest, I was always in the table of the grown-ups. When I was a kid, I remember, most kids were playing with other kids, with toys, etc. I was always excited to be in the table of the grown-ups, listening to what they were saying, in getting inspired by successful people. I always had that. So probably I would listen with a bit of interest what this guy is saying here.
It's very wise of you. Maybe you listen a little bit more than most of us. But cool.
My biggest audience is actually 24 to 29. So probably it's quite interesting what I have to say to them.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you know how to talk to them now. So maybe you would listen.
Yeah, maybe.
Cool, man. Well, I really appreciate the time. I love giving the floor to my guests. This was all wisdom. So if there's any other wisdom you want to add on top, definitely plug your marketing agency, and I'll have your links below. But yeah, this is your floor now. If you want to speak to the audience, anything you want to tell them.
Well, people can find me, as Simply Digital everywhere. We're launching this Monday, actually, on the 17th of June, a private community. It's the first time that I'm trying to build a private community with people that will be coached by me directly. So it's a closed group, around 100 spots available. We'll see how it goes. Actually, something that people have requested to me to do. And I always listen to people. So whatever I create, whatever I build, are the things that people are asking me to build. My courses in the past were created because people were asking me to do. This private community is something that my audience has requested to do. My YouTube channel, for having the opportunity to speak longer to people, was something that I did because of my audience. Even the website that I launched 3 months ago, bestfreeaiwebsites.com, is a library of free AI tools that people were requesting. So that's how I act, and it always works because it comes from the feedback of my audience. So if you listen and you're trying to build something as a personal brand, listen more, because that's how you're going to be led to what is working for you.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I know this podcast might not come out for like 2 or 3-ish weeks. So guys, you'll have to just wait for the second session. You have to poke them about making a second one. But Konstantinos Synodinos, thank you so much for being here, man. I really appreciate you, your time, your wisdom. Thanks for sharing it with us, guys. And yeah, guys, go join his group. Go follow his stuff. The AI tips are amazing. I swear, dude, I pull up your stuff and then I'll just have like a browser open so I can just like type in all this stuff on the side. But it's great knowledge, guys.
Lovely.
Content creators, marketing experts, anything, even the just general advice for becoming better in life. This was a great one. So again, lastly, Konstantinos, thank you so much. Guys, go check out his stuff, check out my stuff. And if you don't, then I know we're going to have a conversation about it whenever we see each other in the 6th dimension.